Hello! Welcome back to The World is Storytelling with me, Ronni. And in honour of April Fools, we have a fantastically comedic episode. It's a little interlude, a pause, if you will, from the county tops. Don't worry, mountain episodes will be back very shortly. But just for this week, in honour of April Fool's Day, we have a hilarious episode with the amazing comedian Curtis Raye. And Curtis is fabulous. And I had a wonderful time chatting with him a few weeks ago in his rock and roll hotel room in Newcastle. And before we get going, and this one is sent in by our wonderful listener, Emily. Emily, thank you very much. A centipede and a monkey, I think. They were sitting there watching the football and they ran out of beer. And the centipede said, "Oh, it's all right. You know what? I'll go buy some more." So, centipede goes out the room, heads up to the shop to buy some more beer. And the ant carries on watching the football. Half an hour goes by. An hour goes by. 2 hours go by. No centipede. And the ant is getting really worried. And he's like, "Where's my buddy gone? Where's my buddy gone?" And he walks out the room to the hallway and he sees the centipede there and says, "Oh, finally, you're back." The centipede says, "Back? I've not even gone yet. I'm just putting on my shoes." Thank you, Emily. Thank you all for listening. And if you want your terrible dad joke to be on the podcast, then feel free to send it in. Now, here's Curtis. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
So tell a story, one that is true. Yeah.
Don't know when I'll be back again. Oh, babe. I'm not the singer in the group, because that's what.
Oh, you know?
No.
I'm trying to think of the rest of the lyrics.
Oh, babe, I hate to go. I went to a Jewish summer camp with a real hippy-dippy music director. Okay. And so the only two camp songs I know are L'Chadodi and Leaving on a Jet Plane, because we sang that every Shabbos.
So, should we start from the beginning?
Sure.
Welcome to The World is Storytelling, Curtis.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here, Ronni. I host a comedy and bluegrass show about unusual public records. For example, I recently got my hands on the names of every single dog in my hometown.
Did you really?
Yeah. That's a public record because you must register your dog. So I have that information and I'm going through it.
Amazing. What have you found?
There's a lot of unusual names for dogs. Actually, I want to go the other way. Americans are not that creative because the most popular name for dogs in my hometown, I don't live in a very big town. I live in a rural town in New Jersey. Most dogs are named Buddy.
Really?
Yeah. There's also two dogs named Bud, so you can count those or not. That's a matter of personal style.
Absolutely.
Also, people name their dogs after places they want to go. Multiple dogs are named Princeton. So I feel like pet names are aspirational. And I don't just do this to find the silly names. I also want to figure out who the people are behind these names as well. That to me is where the stories come into it. Anybody could look at this list of names. I use this list to find out about the people who own the dogs and turn that into comedy.
You're just about to go to another city for your next gig. You have, can I say, I mean, we can edit this out, you have 2 actually closed bottles of wine. So that's less rock and roll. The leftovers of last night's kebab.
Don't tell people what I ate for dinner.
Or what you didn't eat.
And speaking of comedian instinct, I don't think I have the same instincts as other people who can find humor in their own life even. I don't have a wildly ethnic family who every dinner is making me laugh. I haven't dated a bunch of people who give me 1,000 stories that I can share with people. But instead of that, I can go to the Federal Trade Commission and look at every complaint submitted against the dating websites eHarmony and JDate and use those people's stories instead of my own. Yeah, I mean, on JDate, one time, this is a very Jewish thing where rather than the user of the app complaining, their mother wrote to the federal government and was like, "My daughter's dating someone on there, on JDate, a Jewish dating website, and he's from Tehran. I want to make sure that he is not a threat to my daughter or the United States. Please look into this."
Was there a response?
Not in that case.
Not in that case. So this was taken to the highest levels.
Yeah. I mean, they skipped every other level before that. This woman she didn't like complain to, I don't know, her daughter, the man on the other side, the local police, the mayor. They're like, no, I'm going to sit right down and write a letter to the head of the Federal Trade Commission to make sure my daughter finds a nice Jewish man on J-Date.
Because a nice addendum to the dog story is that Arsenal team down in London, they've been pushing to win the Premier League for the last few years. They haven't got there, and it's looking like they're not going to get there this year as well, which is no skin off my nose. I don't mind. But their manager, Mikel Arteta, bought the team a lovely Labrador called Win, because he's trying to psychologically push them to win. It doesn't seem to have worked, but if you look online, there's a beautiful Labrador, I think it's a Labrador, hanging out their training ground called Win. Talking about on stage, what's your favourite story to tell on stage?
I feel currently, and this changes as outside events change. You know, at times it could have been stories about immigration. Right now, maybe it's whether I'm getting older or my family's getting older, my parents are getting older. You wonder whether people are concerned about their legacy. And so I'd like to tell the story of how I wanted to find people's last will and testaments. Yeah. Which in the United States very often are a public record. I honestly don't know if it's the same around the world. So one of my favorite wills, can I read one for you?
Please, yeah.
Am I allowed to curse on here?
Oh, 100%. It's recommended.
I went down to the surrogate's office in Sussex, and I was looking through the files of people's wills, and I found one, and I brought it to the guy who's in charge, a man named Gary, and I said, "What's the deal with this one?" And he goes, "Oh, okay." So what you're about to hear is word for word an unaltered last will and testament, which was submitted to the surrogate's office to see if they could move forward with it.
This is definitely a first.
I, John of Port Jervis, being of batshit crazy mind and decrepit body, declare this to be my will, and I revoke any and all wills and codicils I previously made. To the crazy bastard who lives in the woods next to the ShopRite of Newton, I leave my life savings. $82 in cash. Take this money up to Spring Street, get a case of Ripple, a crack whore, a room, and party like it's 1990 fucking 9. That was it. I asked Gary, is it your job to take $82 and give it to the crazy bastard behind ShopRite? And he said yes. And then he went on and he said, unfortunately, this will was lacking things that wills are supposed to have, such as signatures and witnesses. And he therefore could not probate the will, which was very disappointing.
Yeah, especially for the guy behind ShopRite.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have got $82. Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's also funny ones from back in the 1895. There's one where he's like, I give and bequeath all my wearing apparel to my sister, Lucy Dennis, except 2 white frocks. And then I'm like, what's the story there? Does Lucy Dennis look bad in these frocks? Why didn't she get them? I feel bad for Lucy Dennis. And then, I want to learn more about her. Like I said, my family has no Lucy Dennises or frocks, but I use these public records to motivate me to then spin stories about these characters or short scenes about these characters. What's funny is that people don't realize that when they complain about things and write letters to the government, anybody can see it. And they are, because they don't know people can see it, they are their most honest. And that is very often what comedy is. It's people acting honestly and sincerely. And I just happen to be able to see these things at their most vulnerable because it becomes a public record, because I ask. The highlight and the lowlight, and I don't want to go into a ton of detail until we clear passport control on the way out of the country. It was getting stopped by the UK border guard on their way into the country. When they see 6 people with instruments coming through, they assume that you're here to work for a long period of time and make a lot of money and not pay taxes.
Yep.
And so they pulled us aside and quizzed us very deeply on what we were doing there. And my favorite part, and I don't blame this UK border guard for doing his job and asking these questions, but once he said, like, who are you? What venues are you playing at? I told him, and he left the room for 5-10 minutes. The whole band's just sitting there quiet because we know there's cameras and two-way glass. Nobody says a word. And comes back in and he says, I looked you up. What's so funny about public records? And I'm like, I have been trying to explain this to audiences for 10 years. It's very hard to do. First of all, does that matter? Are you not going to let me in if I can't tell you a joke? But I guess you thought I was just making up the whole show? I don't know. Obviously, we made it into the country, but...
You obviously made him laugh.
Oh, not this man. There was someone else in the room who had our back.
Oh, yeah.
Who saw the humor in public records, yes. Again, once I clear passport control, do not post this while I'm in the country. To all the UK Border Patrol officers out there, love what you do. Keep supporting the country. God save the king.
Yeah, very good, amazing. That is the only what's it called, little snippet that we needed from this thing.
That was
American comedian says, "God save the king." And to finish us off, if you had to write a letter to J-Date, what would it be? I will answer this question as well. We're both...
For a long time when I was on J-Day, I would go on every single day and change my profile and do like a this day in history thing. Okay. Yeah. May 8th, 2006, this happened in history, and here's how it applies to me and why I'd be a good person to date. So if I could write a letter to J-Day, I would say, please destroy any evidence of that. Which is a funny thing for a guy about who hosts a show about public records to say, please destroy that. It's almost unfair for me to say that, but how about for you?
I will say I've barely been on J-Date, so I'm going to just substitute that for Hinge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Jewish Hinge, Ginge.
Ginge, yeah.
Yeah, Ginge.
A website for gingers and Jews. Gin and Jews.
Gin and Jews. That sounds like a great evening. Jews and gin and Jews. Just along that line, my granddad is in a wheelchair sometimes, and he's religious. So on Shabbat, he gets a non-Jew to wheel him, right? And the guy that wheels him is non-Jewish, but is quite enjoying getting to know the Jewish customs, and he's decided to call his services Juba. So you have Uber during the week and Juba for Shabbat. But yeah, if I would write a letter to Hinge, to Ginge, and complain, it would be that because one of my biggest issues was living in the south of Scotland. The closest place with a good amount of people was Belfast. Different country. You need to fly. You need to take a ferry. Mm-hmm. So that was less helpful. Mm-hmm. So even though those people were only like 50 miles away, not helpful to me in the slightest.
Yeah, so you want Hinge to match you up with more mermaids and fish-based partners.
I'd say so, yeah.
Please put that in writing, send it to the FTC so I can put it in the show.
I look forward to catching you live at some point. Thank you so much for coming on The World is Storytelling.
Absolutely, no concerns. I appreciate you making time and joining me in our humble rock star abode. I am not that kind of comedian where I have silly jokes.
No, it's all very serious and highbrow. And this is real entertainment, not like those.
You don't have to use this. It's not that fully formed. But earlier we talked about the man who left his items to his wife, Lucy Dennis, except 2 white frocks. I say choose any joke you want. I don't give a frock.
Thanks to you and to Lucy Dennis's husband or sister or brother. Yeah, right, okay. God bless you all. And God save the king.
God save the king. Thank you so much, Ronni.
Some say the old ruins in the sand tell us every story will come to an end. But my dear, we can live what we tell. We are storytelling animals.